Are you curious about how to incorporate the vibrant freshness of spring into your home design while maintaining the classic beauty of vintage aesthetics? What if I told you that by making a few small adjustments, you could celebrate spring's renewal and take your space back in time? We're getting deep into the world of vintage spring decor today, a look that is timeless and invigorating for our houses. But why is retro design so classic? And why is spring so essential to this artistic renaissance? The comfort that vintage decor adds to contemporary rooms, the rich stories each piece holds, and the artistry of past centuries are what make it so appealing. It's more than just beautiful design. It's a nod to the past and the craftspeople who created these classic items. Imagine the soft glow of sunlight filtering through sheer curtains, casting a warm light on a vintage oak table adorned with a vase of fresh spring flowers. It's about creating a space that feels alive, that balances nostalgia with the freshness of spring. As we explore the elements of vintage spring decor in the next section, think of how each item, each color, and each texture can transform your home into a sanctuary of warmth and renewal. Stay with us as we unlock the secrets to curating your perfect vintage spring space. At the core of vintage spring decor are four essential elements: floral patterns, pastel colors, rustic metals, and antique furniture. Each plays a pivotal role in creating a harmonious and inviting space. Floral patterns, with their intricate designs and vibrant hues, capture the essence of spring's rebirth. Whether it's through wallpaper, textiles, or artwork, incorporating florals brings a sense of nature and freshness into your home. Next, we have pastel colors. Soft, soothing, and reminiscent of spring's first blooms. Pastels like lavender, mint green, and baby blue add a delicate touch of color that enhances the vintage feel without overwhelming the senses. Rustic metals, with their aged patina and sturdy presence, add depth and contrast. Think of antique brass candlesticks or a vintage iron bed frame. These elements anchor the room with their weight and history. And then, there's antique furniture. Each piece tells a story, from a Victorian-era dresser to a mid-century modern chair. These pieces are not just functional. They're the soul of a vintage spring-themed room, imbued with the craftsmanship and style of their time. But how do you select the right vintage items? And more importantly, how do you mix them with modern elements to create a space that feels both timeless and livable? Remember, creating a vintage spring decor theme in your home is about more than just following a set of rules. It's about expressing your personality, telling a story, and creating a space that feels uniquely yours. Stay tuned as we walk through a step-by-step guide to decorating with vintage spring items in our next segment. Now that we've explored the essential elements of vintage spring decor, it's time to bring our vision to life. Follow along as we transform a living room, kitchen, and bedroom, step by step, into a celebration of spring's timeless beauty. Let's start with the living room, the heart of the home, where family and friends come together. Begin with a neutral base. A light-colored sofa and walls provide the perfect backdrop for vintage accents. Introduce vintage elements through accent pieces. A mid-century coffee table, brass candle holders, and a vintage floral painting breathe life into the space. Add the final touches with fresh spring flowers in antique vases and vintage books on the coffee table. These details bring the essence of spring indoors. Moving on to the kitchen, a place of warmth and creativity. Incorporate pastel colors through kitchenware and textiles. A mint green kettle, lavender dish towels, and floral patterned plates add subtle color and texture. Utilize open shelving to display vintage kitchen accessories. Glass jars, an antique scale, and rustic metal utensils serve both decorative and functional purposes. Bring in natural elements with a herb garden in vintage pots. It's not only visually appealing but also practical for cooking. Finally, the bedroom, our personal sanctuary. Start with soft furnishings. A vintage quilt and lace curtains add texture and warmth, creating a cozy atmosphere. Incorporate antique furniture, like a wooden bedside table and a wrought iron lamp. These pieces add character and history to the room. Finally, add personal touches with vintage photo frames and a small floral arrangement. These elements make the space truly your own. And there you have it, a home transformed by the charm and elegance of vintage spring decor. Remember, decorating is a journey, not a destination. Take your time to find pieces that speak to you and don't be afraid to experiment with different textures, colors, and arrangements. We hope this guide inspires you to create your own vintage spring oasis. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your transformations with us. Until next time, happy decorating.